to get food and medicine. These were professionals. These were people that had a life. These were people that were doing all that they could to have a better life, and now they're having to come over to Colombia by the thousands to get help. And this all goes to the fact that I can't stress enough. The Maduro regime is doing this to the Venezuelan people. These are his people. These are the people he should be feeding. These are the people he should be giving medicine to. These are the people that he should be giving jobs to and making sure they have a good quality of life. But instead, he is protecting himself, and he's allowing them to cross over this bridge to eat in what is like one meal a day. And we talk to people at the food kitchen, and I'm so thankful to the Catholic Church and all that they've done. But if you saw those families, they're walking, in some cases, 2 to 3 hours here and 2 to 3 hours back, all for one meal. For one meal, which is all they're going to get for their entire day. And so let's just look at the statistics. Venezuela is about to hit 1,000,000% inflation. 1,000,000%. No government can comprehend that. The average adult in Venezuela has lost 24 pounds. If you look at the situation in terms of the numbers that are coming, at any given time, 1,000,000 Venezuelans are here in Colombia, either to get food, to get medicine, or to find a better life. These are all things that the United States is going to continue to work for, continue to fight for, but we want the international community to see this as a crisis. This is a crisis where the region has not been as loud and active as we would like to see. We think they need to do more, but the international community, the world in general, needs to realize that we have a dictator in Venezuela that is doing everything to protect himself and is sacrificing all of the Venezuelan people to do it. The United States today, to date, has already given $60+ million to the Venezuelan crisis. We're going to announce today that we're giving $9 million more. The $9 million more will go towards water sanitation. It'll go to health needs. It will go to sterilizations and medicines and things like that to really help the Venezuelan people. But we really have to question, how long can this be sustainable? At some point, Maduro is going to have to be dealt with. I have long said that it's time for Maduro to go, but you can look at all of these people. You can look at the thousands of people that escape Venezuela every day and realize they're begging for help. They're begging for a change. They're begging for Maduro to go, and they need help. We heard stories of the elections and how they were told at the polls, if they didn't vote the right way, that all of their benefits would be taken away, all of their livelihood would be taken away. And if they did vote the right way, he paid them to do it. And when you have starving families trying to feed their children, they had no choice. This is supposed to be a democracy. This is supposed to be a country where the people can live and do as they please, and it has become the total opposite. And you look at this oil-rich country that everyone used to look to as successful, and because of Chavez and because of Maduro, we have seen all of that get wiped out. So this is really a plea to the international community. The United States is going to continue to do, but we need everyone to be loud in their voices. We need them to be open with their wallets, and we need them to understand that these brothers and sisters of ours in Venezuela are being abused in a way that none of us would ever want our families abused. So thank you for taking the time to come. I'll open it up for some questions.
Señora embajadora, buenos días. Fernando Ramos, corresponsal de CNN en Colombia. Más adelante. Buenos días, señora embajadora, ¿cómo está?
Buenos días.
Usted evidenciando la situación tan difícil que están viviendo estos venezolanos, la comunidad internacional buscar mejorar de esta
Ambassador, welcome. We are clearly in a very dire situation here at the border between Colombia and Venezuela. what can you say about this situation? What are your words to the people from both countries? And above all, what can you say about this whole situation? What is the world's community doing in this regard? And a follow-up question is, what are your thoughts on the alleged attempt that took place against Maduro last Saturday? Thank you.
So I think that, first of all, to the Venezuelan people, we feel your pain. And that's why we're here, is we want to make sure people see the faces, that they see the families, that they see the babies and the children and the elderly that are having to make this long walk across this bridge just to get that one meal a day. And we don't think that any of this should be excused, and we think Maduro's getting a pass. And we think that the international community needs to step up, isolate him, and make sure that he leaves so that the Venezuelan people can get back to a proper way of life. I can't thank the Colombian people enough. I think if you look at all that they're doing in terms of helping with food and health care and jobs and migration, all of those things are so important when it comes to making sure that the Venezuelan people are taken care of. And so I think the fact that they're taking care of their brothers and sisters, that's God's work, and we're just very grateful that they do it. As far as Maduro, he's been full of excuses for years. These drone strikes, instead of him realizing he did this by starving his people, he did this by stealing from the economy, he did this by creating this chaos. He's going to go and blame other countries and other things for this happening. At the end of the day, Maduro is the only person to blame for what has happened to all of these people in Venezuela, and he has to pay a price for that.
Señora embajadora, muy buenas tardes. Olga Lucía Cotamo de RCN Radio Norte de Santander. Mi pregunta es, ¿hasta cuándo van las ayudas de Estados Unidos? ¿Por cuánto tiempo? Porque a medida que avanza el tiempo se incrementa la población migratoria y Colombia pues está soportando ese fenómeno migratorio. La otra pregunta, ¿presión política contra el gobierno de Nicolás Maduro ante la situación grave que se viene presentando en Venezuela?
Thank you. My name is Olga Lucia Cotamo from the local newspaper, and I have two questions. The first question is, how long is the American help scheduled to last in this area? Because we can see that this situation is only escalating and it's only likely to grow and become worse. So for how long will this help last? And secondly, what are the words or what are the thoughts in terms of the pressure that needs to be put against the Maduro regime in Venezuela? Thank you.
So the United States has given $60 million already to the Venezuelan crisis. We are announcing today $9 million more, and we're going to continue to try and rally the international community so that more countries realize they need to also be giving. They need to also start to help the Venezuelan people. It can't just be the United States, but the United States is going to continue to fight for the Venezuelan people, for their freedom, for their democracy, and make sure that we're loud about it until their voices are heard. In terms of the second question was in reference to
political pressure and sanctions against Venezuela.
So you've seen sanctions from the United States, you've seen sanctions from the European Union. What we need to see is pressure from the region. We need every head of state in the region to be speaking out. They can't be quiet about Maduro. They have to condemn what he's doing. They have to take actions to do it, because when a region condemns one of their own, the international community listens. When a region is quiet about what one of their own is doing, then the international community lets them handle it. This is a time to be loud. This is a time for the regional countries that are dealing with the migration, that are suffering from the migration as well, to step up and condemn Maduro and tell him it's time for him to go.
La pregunta es, ¿qué estrategias, qué tipo de apoyo va a dar el gobierno de los Estados Unidos para el combate contra los cultivos de uso ilícito, contra la coca?
Yes, this question is about what help or what contributions will the United States provide in order to aid in the fight against illicit crops, namely coca.
So once I leave here, we'll be flying over the coca fields to see exactly what we're looking at. I think what we've seen is the increase in Colombian production of coca, and what we have talked with President Duque about is how do we reduce that number and what are we going to do about it. He has multiple ways that he wants to go ahead and target this, and the United States is going to be a complete partner in every way to do this. This is about health and safety, not just for the people of Colombia or for people of the region. This is for the people of the world. And, you know, so many of us talk about the fact that how we deal with addictions and how we deal with those that are suffering, but we have to go to the source. And the supply of so much of the coca that goes to so many other countries comes from Colombia. And so I think President Duque knows that all of us want to see results. We're going to help him get results, and we're going to make sure that we can create substitutions as well. There needs to be development in rural areas so that it's not just eradication. There is also substitution. And I think President Duque has a great plan for that, and we intend to support it fully.
Madam Ambassador, Tomas Regalado from Voice of America. You said right now that Maduro needs to leave, and at some point something needs to be done. Obviously, you've been emphatic about Cuba as well, and now Nicaragua. At what point is that when it needs to be done?
No, it's something that we're raising now. I mean, you have heard us be loud about Cuba. You have continued to hear us to be loud about Venezuela. We are now pushing to get a Security Council meeting on Nicaragua, and Bolivia is the next one we have to watch for. So these are a lot of the crises in the region, but the lesson in this is, had the region let us really go after Venezuela when we wanted to, maybe they wouldn't be suffering as much. And I hope the region will realize they need to be the voices that call out when a crisis happens. They need to be the ones that instigate that something needs to change, because the rest of the world is waiting on them. And they can't take a long time. And as we deal with Nicaragua, they need to be loud. They need to explain exactly what's happening. And then we'll have to go on and deal with Bolivia as well. Thank you very much.